Bitcoin just dumped to below $100,000. Everyone is freaking out. In today's video, we'll be talking about whether or not it is over and how I am currently navigating this market. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you know exactly what I'm about to say. We cannot, with confidence, say that the bull market is over. The reason being, we did not get a weekly close below $98,000. This is my key invalidation level. And in yesterday's video, we actually touched on this as well. 98K weekly closes below that level means, in my opinion, that the bear market is officially confirmed and my strategy in terms of trading would be to short relief rallies. However, as I'm recording this video, Bitcoin ended up dipping down to below $99,000 and we're currently sitting just under 102K. So where do we go from here? This shook out a lot of positions in the market, and I mean a lot. Taking a look at our Bitcoin liquidation map, you can see here that the longs have started to completely give up. On the left here, this is the cumulative long liquidation leverage, and on the right, this is the cumulative short liquidation leverage. There is basically 10 times more cumulative short liquidation leverage in the market compared to cumulative long liquidation leverage in the market. And something that's interesting to see here is the fact that whenever we were getting these pullbacks over the past couple days, you saw that we would have a massive spike here of long liquidation leverage to be grabbed. Right now, as I'm recording this video, this is pretty insignificant in terms of longs. So I'm not going to come out and say that the bottom is confirmed to be in. However, I cannot lie. This is one of the best risk to reward opportunities in my honest opinion. But don't take my word for it. This is currently how I'm operating from a trading perspective. I went long on Bitcoin. My position is currently sitting just over $10,000 in profit, and this is going to be a major swing long. Now, I do have pretty wide invalidations for this trade. If you're in my premium group, you know all about them. But my point is, if you do believe that the bull market is still intact, this is one of the best risk to reward opportunities to go max long in my opinion. Of course, this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing with you exactly what I am doing. The thing with these invalidation levels is that we can often come close to getting invalidated without actually getting invalidated. So as I said, this to me is one of the best risk to reward opportunities in this market at this point in time. I will stand firm on that. If I get closed out on my Bitcoin long, then so be it. From a spot positioning, I have only sold a little bit of Bitcoin, around $125,000, but at this point in time, I have not touched my spot positions, which are both in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I'll of course let you know if any of that changes. At this point in time, it would actually surprise me if Bitcoin just goes immediately and bounces from here. I mean, most of the market would simply not believe that. That being said, I've already started to dollar cost average into a Bitcoin long simply because I do think that the bottom would likely get formed here if we are to have another leg higher. The thing you need to understand about these kinds of markets is if we are going to zero, and let's say the bear market is confirmed and all of my comments are correct, I would say that we're still going to get some kind of mini relief rally at this point in time. So either way, from a trading perspective, this is a very good risk to reward opportunity, irrespective of if you think that the bear market has started. We will likely get a bounce from around this region. That is currently my base case. And remember, weekly closes below $98,000. My trading strategy completely pivots at this point in time, and I'm happy to guide you through that on the channel and of course in my free premium group. And I hate to talk about Bitcoin dominance again, but you can see still in my Bitcoin dominance long trade, I still think that Bitcoin dominance likely continues to increase. I have said this time and time again. I've been extremely vocal on Bitcoin dominance, meaning I thought that altcoins were going to continue to bleed against Bitcoin for the past few months, when everyone was calling for an altcoin season. I need to keep reiterating this because it's important to protect your capital in this way. And understanding how Bitcoin dominance works with these kinds of market conditions in a period of quantitative tightening in particular is exactly how you can trade crypto successfully. If you think that Bitcoin dominance will increase, naturally you can long it on bluffing. However, if you think that from here Bitcoin dominance will be moving lower, you can of course also short it. And that reminds me, if you want to trade this metric or you just want to trade the market in general, general, you have the second link in my description down below, bringing you directly to Bluffin, my favorite exchange to trade on. We also have a fantastic bonus, 20% trading bonus cashback, where you can get $500 in futures bonuses. Typically, you'll see me promote bigger campaigns on the channel for traders with a little bit more capital, but in this case, if you deposit $2,500 onto Bluffin after signing up with me, you will get a $500 futures bonus. And this is limited to the first 100 users that join me. So go ahead and sign up. That's the second link in my description down below. So what is next here? Taking a look at Ethereum, guys, I know you want me to talk about Ethereum, but my stance has been pretty clear. I'd like to see Bitcoin reclaim higher levels before we can start talking about Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies, because as we know, Bitcoin determines the rest of the market. And that's why I've been so vocal on Bitcoin dominance going up over the past few months. But if we're just taking a look at Ethereum, assuming that Bitcoin can go ahead and reclaim some of these higher levels, which we'll get into after this, we want to see us fall back within this range, because potentially this could be seen as just a deviation below the range. And if we are to reclaim this level, we could see a pretty significant move from around $3,300 up to around $3,600. Then, of course, if we reclaim this level, we'll start talking about new all-time highs for ETH. But this is really based on what Bitcoin does, as is the rest of the crypto market. So at this point in time, you can see that Bitcoin is sitting just above $102,000. If you're asking me why I'm not freaking out, it's simply because I am a trader, and that's how you should be operating in this market, as I've said time and time again. You want to actively trade the market. You can go long, you can go short, but you get in and out of trades with profits. That is how you become profitable over time, not by simply bag holding a ton of altcoins. Now, in terms of my spot, as I said, Bitcoin and Ethereum, I'll let you know if I start offloading some more of that. But at this point in time, I want to see us first and foremost on these shorter time frames here, get Bitcoin to reclaim this 50-week simple moving average, which is found right around $103,000. That would be an initial positive sign. Then, if we take a look at the 4-hour time frame, it is looking relatively bleak here. But you can see that this is the first time in a while where we've had some significant wicks to the downside, suggesting that we could potentially move higher out of here. That being said, because of how spooked the market currently is, and because of this severe downtrend, it would not surprise me if we spend a little bit more time in this range before we go ahead and move higher. Start to reclaim $107,000, which you'll remember was one of my key pivot points for my most recent Bitcoin long when we entered right around this double bottom. This would be very, very promising in my opinion. Of course, it's important to also have a pretty open view of the market, because if we start to get relief rallies and, for example, we end up hitting $107,000 and we can't break above this level, I would be expecting for us to go lower. And so if you do take trades, it's okay to take quick scalps, get in and out with some profits. Reminder, if you want to see exactly how I am trading this market and you'd like to follow along, you do have that first link in the description down below. And if we take a look at the Bitcoin spot ETFs, you can see that we got around $500 million worth of outflows. Usually when we have significant outflows, consecutive significant outflows, that could mark a local bottom in the market. Just bringing that to your attention. We also have Ethereum here, some more outflows naturally with the price of Bitcoin continuing to go down. Now, the stock market also wiped out over $700 billion. And so this, of course, does not impact Bitcoin in the way that we would want it to. If stocks go down, Bitcoin will likely go down. If stocks go up, Bitcoin will likely go up. That's unfortunately the name of the game. Now, I still think that it would be foolish to call for the market cycle end until we start to get those weekly closes below $98,000. A lot of people are also talking about the level that we touched on just recently, which would be that 50-week moving average, which is actually found right around $103,000. So if we start to get weekly closes below there and you're more risk averse than I personally am, then at that point in time, perhaps that would be the sign to exit the market. But as I always say, I will be here every single day, bull market or bear market, and we will be looking for opportunities to make money in this market. Whether that's longing or shorting, you can rest assured that I will be here in the crypto market. And that sums up today's video. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, Bitcoin dumped to below $100,000. You know my key weekly invalidation level at 98K. If we start to lose that level on a weekly time frame basis, I am pivoting my strategy in this market. However, until then, these key invalidation zones can hold as support. And I don't think that people are actually considering this at this point in time. From a risk to reward perspective, I like going long around these levels. I hope that makes sense. I hope I've explained myself clearly. As always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.